continental United States, and 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected. Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf. Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy. As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired. Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
Navigating COVID while protecting yourself can be difficult. Fortunately, there's a hotline you can call with any questions. The Department of Indian Work St. Paul partnered with the Minnesota Department of Health to open the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline. They provide information on vaccines, booster shots, and testing sites. Right now, booster shots are available to anyone over the age of 18 for those who are eligible. The Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline can also help with housing, food, medical, and educational support. If you or someone you know has questions about COVID-19, vaccinations, booster shots, or testing, please call 651-304-9986. Again, the number is 651-304-9986. The Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline is open for calls Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Call the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline at 651-304-9986.
Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in four directions. This is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. I'm here to ask you for your support. Finding honest Native-centered news is not easy. But with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinigigi, and thank you for your support.
Hey, Ogimaa, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lulia. Clear tonight with a low of 61, then warm and sunny on Saturday with a high of 88.
Get paid to upgrade. Warner Stellian will buy your appliance for $50 during our trade-in sale. No one else saves you more time from shopping to free professional delivery like Warner Stellian. Put us to the test. Shop Minnesota family-owned WarnerStellian.com.
Portions of Native Roots Radio may be pre-recorded.
It's a good day to be indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake. Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Cudahy, to all my friends and relatives in four directions, you are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot, and we discuss local and national Native news and events. And as you know, Wendy, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues.
This portion of the show is brought to you by Native Roots Trading Post. We will be at the Minnesota State Fair starting Thursday, August 25th through Monday, September 5th. And I'm excited because I was down at the State Fair grounds today, scoping out the place, and it really is pumping me up and getting me excited about the prospect of being there.
Well, when you get in the West End, you'll see our teepee and just walk over there with a wad of cash
and right.
Support Native artists all over Turtle Island.
We will be in the West End Market.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, and another thing too, Wendy, in a couple days, Reservation Dogs is going to be coming on, and I'm so excited. That'll be the 3rd. Also, you know, it's good to know that people listen to our show, Ogimaa. So Ogimaa was listening to the show, and she's going back to school, and we're going to miss her. No,
That's
I'm just
exciting
kidding.
News.
No, but I mean, it's really fun because it's informational, our show, and also, you know, these are things that really hit our sweet spot, and it's good to have these guests come on and talk about stuff, right, Ogimaa?
It really is good to have them. Yesterday we had Allison Waka Butler on talking about the teacher training program, or the Minnesota Indigenous Teacher Training Program, and it lit a
Huh?
fire under me. And I'm looking into going back to college. I have a I'm partially done with the degree, and I should probably get it done. So I started looking into that yesterday, and Alicia, excuse me, not Allison, has been so helpful. So I really appreciate you, Alicia, if you're listening. And Robert, if you're ready, I've got some news for today.
Yeah, I want to give her a shout out too, but absolutely, that's hear the news that you don't hear anywhere else. Welcome again, Ogimaa.
Yes, so yesterday I talked a little bit about the Oglala Sioux tribe banishing a Christian missionary after they distributed anti-indigenous pamphlets around talking about how Jesus was the only right creator and those types of things. But they actually ended up calling an emergency meeting this past Tuesday, the 26th of July. And the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council has actually temporarily suspended all activity of Christian missions on the Pine Ridge Reservation. So that means the Oglala Sioux tribe has passed an ordinance that requires all churches and religious organizations to complete a new form to request the right to conduct missionary work on the reservation, and that form is going to be reviewed by the tribe's executive committee. The tribe is also going to put a restriction on utilizing images, videos, and names of the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation and its citizens without signed consent from the executive committee. They're also calling for an independent investigation of the Dream Center missionary, and that is going to be conducted by a member of the tribe's administration. And they want to know how much the organization is earning in donations, where those funds come from, how they're spent. And if they fail to comply with this investigation, they may be removed. And it says that this nonprofit Dream Center missionary is alleged to be associated with Matthew Monforet, and Matthew was ordered to leave by the tribe ordered to leave the reservation by the tribe on July 22nd after distributing the pamphlets that demonize the Lakota culture. So that was through the Jesus is King mission. So they were asked to be removed, and Matthew Monfore was asked to leave as well. But now this Dream Center missionary has been temporarily suspended from doing that work there. So apparently there's going to be a special meeting on August 10th to review the investigation after just a few weeks with this here. But that is a pretty big step for any tribe to be taking, to suspend any and all activity of Christian missions on a reservation. So big news there, and a bit of an update from yesterday. I do want to touch a little bit more. I know we've been talking about it a lot, Robert. We've been talking about the Pope's visit to Canada, right?
Yeah.
So the Pope visited Quebec City on Wednesday, and that was the second stop of his apology tour to Indigenous peoples across Canada. However, there were Indigenous nations who were invited, including the Haudenosaunee Confederacy of Six Nations, who were invited last minute to be able to address the Pope, and they were actually not given a chance to speak with him.
Huh.
So Indigenous leaders and audience members were not at all given an opportunity to address the Pope, according to Kenneth Deere, who is from the Mohawk Nation, which is part of the Haudenosaunee Confederacy. And their tribe and its representatives were invited last minute with the intention to speak to the Pope. The Pope addressed more than 50 Indigenous residential school survivors, elders, knowledge keepers, but none of them were given an opportunity to speak with him, it sounds like. And Kenneth Deere, the Mohawk person who reported to Native News Online that he wasn't able to speak with anybody, said that they were not there for the apology, and they had wanted to speak to the Pope, and they were hoping that he would revoke the papal bulls, official decrees, which were issued by Pope Alexander the in 1493, and they make up the doctrine of discovery, which is a big theme that we're hearing in Indian country, that people are asking the Pope to revoke the doctrine of discovery. The doctrine of discovery, in not so many words, gave European explorers authorization under the Catholic Church to seize land that was not populated by Christians and to reduce their persons to perpetual slavery and or kill them. So there have been a lot of calls for Native people across Turtle Island, across all of North and South America, to remove the doctrine of discovery. And it sounds like the Pope has maybe gotten wind of that and is not taking comments at this time regarding that. So that is a little bit unfortunate to hear. The next stop for the Pope on his tour, I believe, is going to be with the Nunavut Nation. So that is very, I don't know, Robert, I have so many mixed feelings about this whole Pope thing.
Yeah, I just want to throw away, years ago the Pope was here in Minnesota, and I just want to throw away that Pope on the rope that I have, soap on the rope with the Pope. I want to get rid of it, maybe put it on eBay. But yeah, I'm totally disgusted, and having them. It's interesting you talked about those two stories, Ogimaa, because it's like revolting or getting rid of these other entities that are going into native nations and calling us devils is like not only a good thing, but I like it because it's it shows it's more than it's the action, right, Ogimaa and Wendy? It's the action as opposed to what they're doing. It's the action, and everyone can see that what they're standing for, and that's to get them out.
Right. Exactly. So I just want to touch base on a couple more quick things too before we run out of time, Robert. I want to remind everybody that the federal government has been providing free meals for children nationwide after the onset of the pandemic. And that specific set of waivers ends September 30th. So the federal government's free and reduced student lunch to children around the nation still exists, but the nationwide free lunch for any family, including Native families, obviously that waiver ends September 30th. And I just want to mention Nielsen Paulus, who is Oneida and 25 years old, who finished the Tour de France in 13th place. So congratulations to the Oneida Nation on such a wonderful athlete, and to Nielsen Paulus for completing the Tour de France. That's amazing.
Hey, yeah, up next, thank you, Ogimaa. Great job as always. Up next, State Senator Mary Kunesh. You're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake.
Stay with us.
Hey, Wendy, what are we doing for dinner after the show?
How about we go to J. Selby's on 169 Victoria Street in St. Paul? They have a delicious plant-based menu that's compassionate and environmentally sustainable.
I'm getting their spot-on vegan Big Mac. A dirty secret.
You can pick up and they deliver within a 5-mile radius, or you can call them at 651-222-3263 or visit jselbys.com.
Well, you sold me one. Let's go order at J. Selby's tonight.
I'm hungry.
We are your relatives.
We are your relations.
Brothers,
sisters,
sons,
daughters.
And some of us are your grandchildren.
We are your community. Historically, we held places of honor and respect. Because of the impact of colonization, some of us are rejected, thrown out from family, friends, and community, set up as targets for sexual violence, sex trafficked, humiliated, tortured, and murdered. Everybody has the right to be safe. We are your relatives. Remember,
homophobia is not traditional.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Hey, Ogimaa, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
J&S Bean Factory is a Native-owned, community-supported, cozy, artsy coffee shop which offers roasted on-site beans, live music, and baked goods. Relax in the beautiful outside patio. City Pages writes, voted top 10 coffee shops. Tucked into a quiet corner of St. Paul's Highland Park neighborhood, this coffee shop roasts beans on site from the best coffee growing countries in the world. Located at 1518 Randolph Avenue, St. Paul. The good stuff.
This is Winona LaDuke of Honor the Earth, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio. I'm Awake.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Tyler.
The show is brought to you by MN350, organization fighting for climate justice.
You know, it's fun to have little animals and babies in the background because they want to get on the show. It's just like, that's the way it is.
That's right.
So before we get Mary back on, I'm going to be taking off here after this segment, and Wendy's going to take over the show because I have to go to God's country for this weekend for Ho-Chunk Nation's General Council. So I'm going to head out there tonight as soon as Wendy will take over the show, and it'll be in good hands, and Ogimaa and Mary are old pros, so it'll be great. So welcome State Senator Mary Kunesh. I just want to touch base real quick about the last time I saw it was a sad occasion where we were Marlene, who's Ho-Chunk, the Reverend Marlene, passed away, and it was good to see you and your sister and all the other people there too. So welcome, and sorry to start out on that sober note, but it was good to see you.
Thanks, Robert. And Pektuwash Day, everybody. Good day to all of you. It was unfortunately a sad occasion, and you know, I was talking to somebody there. There were folks there that I hadn't seen since before COVID. There were people that came from far and wide that I didn't even know, but came up to introduce themselves to me and talk about some of the issues that were important to them. And I said, it's really sad that, you know, that the passing of somebody like Marlene, brings us all together, and nonetheless, we were. It was a celebration. It was a beautiful, beautiful celebration, and I think they did her justice. Both the family and her faith community, and of course, all of those that came to visit.
Right, and the minions, and also Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, who appeared to be one of her minions too.
Well, you know, she was such an easy woman to talk to, and she reminded me so much of my Auntie Jean, my mother's sister. She was no nonsense. You know, she just spoke her mind, spoke her piece, and honestly, you could almost tell her anything. And well, at least I felt like there were a few times where we had some really interesting conversations, shall we say. And, you know, she was like, just tell me. Don't try to whitewash it. Don't try to sugarcoat it. Just tell me. And I really appreciated that. It made quite a difference to the kind of relationship that I needed from somebody like that. And she told it like it is. You know, she didn't sugarcoat anything either.
Right. And I have to give a big shout out again today is that not only did she was one of the elders that asked me to run for Ho-Chunk legislator, but she also basically got on the smoke signals and got everyone to vote for me. So I owe her that too. And she'll be greatly, greatly missed.
Yeah, she will. It was, I think a lot of us had no idea. Right. And, you know, she has such a wonderful family. Her husband supported her in anything and everything that she did. And he had some really kind words for me as well. And of course, her daughter, Wendy, works out in Washington, D.C. behind the scenes doing a lot of incredible things for Indian country. And so her contribution just doesn't start with her. It takes, it really expands. The ripple effect is incredible.
It really is. It really is. So how is your summer? How are you doing otherwise? Are I hear we have a representative who opened up a coffee shop, and I believe Roseville too.
Yep. Yeah, Representative Becker Finn opened up a coffee shop. I'm all consumed with granddaughters, but I do have some really good personal news about my sister. You know my sister Patrice.
Yes.
So today, President Biden announced 13 new intended nominations for his administration, and that includes my sister Patrice.
Oh my
She
God.
is nominated. Yeah, she's nominated for the Commissioner of the Administration for Native Americans. It's a program within the United States Department of Health and Human Services. And she will be doing a lot of work. Oh, I would say, I think the way she explained it to me, she'll be doing some of the MMIR work, and she'll be looking for ways to provide financial assistance and capacity building for nations across the country, gathering and sharing data and advocating for policies that are within that health and human services, which can be so broad. But her work that she's been doing lately, and her whole life experiences has really made a difference. Yep.
Yeah, wow. Well, I smell a selfie with the president now because I know you, and that means I know Patrice. And now when I go to Washington, I'll give her a call through you. That's awesome. Like,
yeah,
a selfie. I smell it.
Yeah.
I smell it.
Yeah.
Well, that's huge. And you know what I like, and your sister hasn't been on our show in a long time, but your sister has been doing a lot of things in Turtle Island, and she's so humble. And really, that's crazy. That's your sister's very
she's currently working for NARF, Native American Rights Fund, and that's where she started as a Indian law lawyer. And then she worked for the Mashantucket Pequot tribe out in Connecticut. Then she taught Indian law in South Dakota. Then she came back to Minnesota and was worked at the Federal Reserve Bank of Minneapolis, and started the economic development in Indian country, that whole department within the Federal Reserve Bank. And so, yeah, she has really dedicated her life to working on behalf of our tribal nations, and I know she will continue to do a really excellent job at that federal level.
That is so exciting.
Really?
That is. That's wait a minute. Let me get this button here. See if I got the right button, Mary. Yeah, the applause button.
Awesome.
Yeah. Oh, I like using that button too. But that's seriously awesome. And you're revving up. We got an election coming up. It's nationally in the news. Breaking news was that the Senate, was it the Senate? No, it wasn't the Senate. It was the representatives passed that gun bill by 4 votes. So that's
ban on semi-automatic weapons.
Yeah.
Passed by 4.
Wow. So that's cool.
It's amazing. I mean, it's thankfully it passed. It's a sad thing that it passed only by 4, but at least it will start that precedence for states to take that big leap. And I think there are many states, Minnesota included, who are afraid to start doing some really sensible and remarkable gun protection laws or gun safety laws. So it's the beginning, I think.
Yeah, and then we also got Manchin, who's I never really heard this term before, but I believe it is he's a Democrat that's way to the right. What were they called him? A moderate.
They called him a moderate, Senator Manchin.
So he's passing the greatest. The greatest.
A moderate what is my question. Moderate what?
Exactly, but they're going to pass that bill too. So there's stuff happening finally, because we've had the Senate nationally and we've had the House. And it's finally things are happening in a good way. So hopefully that's also a trend, State Senator.
Yep. Yep, I saw Alicia Kozlowski yesterday. I saw Heather Keeler yesterday. There was a big fundraiser for the LGBTQ 2S legislators here in Minnesota last night at Lush, and it was a celebration of beauty because so many folks came out to support our gay and queer legislators, and I can tell you that has made a huge difference. For so long, it was just Scott Dibble trying to, make sure that there were human rights being passed for our LGBTQ communities, and now he's got lots and lots of support, and we've got a couple of our natives in there as well, and that makes such a difference.
We love Scott Dibble over here, don't we, Wendy?
Yeah, we really do. He's been awesome.
Yeah, he's very, very in touch with our sacred relatives, our animals.
Yeah, I've worked with him on a lot of Humane Society of the United States legislation, so he's been fantastic.
Yeah, he's just an all-around really good legislator and has quite a legacy here in Minnesota, not just for the sort of things that he does for LGBT communities, but his community and communities across the state.
Well, hey, stick with us, State Senator. It's going to be an all-woman show, and I'm leaving right now, but I'll be listening on the radio on my way to God's Country, Madison, Wisconsin. You're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and up next, Wendy and Ogimaa and Mary. We'll be right back after this short break.
Stay with us.
Hey, Wendy, what are we doing for dinner after the show?
How about we go to J. Selby's on 169 Victoria Street in St. Paul? They have a delicious plant-based menu that's compassionate and environmentally sustainable.
I'm getting their spot-on vegan Big Mac, the dirty secret.
You can pick up and they deliver within a 5-mile radius, or you can call them at 651-222-3263 or visit jselbys.com.
Well, you sold me, Wen. Let's go order at J. Selby's tonight.
I'm hungry.
Hi, this is Desi Doyen of the Green News Report and the Bradcast. You're listening to AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Hi, this is Chad from AM 950. Snap Construction is arguably the most well-reviewed roofing, siding, window, and insulation contractor in the metro. Ryan is so excited about working with AM 950 and our listeners that he wants to help us grow.
This is Ryan, owner of Snap Construction. I was friends with Chad long before I started marketing with him. I was a bit skeptical of radio advertising before Chad convinced us to run ads. The advertising's been so successful, we want to help the station grow. We've absolutely loved working with the listeners of AM 950, and we all know how extremely important this radio station is to the community. To help AM 950 grow this summer, Snap Construction will be putting up proceeds to assist the station in marketing on social media. Snap Construction encourages you to follow, engage, share, and interact on the AM 950 social media platforms. Together, we can all work to ensure AM 950 continues to thrive and grow in our communities. We stand by our work with a lifetime craftsmanship guarantee. For a free estimate or more information on our financing, call 612-333-SNAP or check us out online.
We use technology every day to help manage our lives. Why not use it to help manage your medications? St. Paul Corner Drug offers several free tools to keep you on track while taking your medications. Use our mobile app to quickly order a refill, or the Meds on Q application, which turns your smartphone or tablet into your very own personal medication attendant. Email and text messaging options let you know when your medication is ready for pickup, making efficient use of your time. St. Paul Corner Drug, pharmacy the way it should be.
Seward Co-op is now offering convenient self-serve and prepackaged hot options and salad bars at both the Franklin and Friendship stores. Breakfast items available daily until 11 a.m. and brunch served all day every Sunday. Their weekly lunch and dinner menus highlight cuisines from around the world. They offer vegan, vegetarian, and gluten-free options daily. 95% of the ingredients used are organic from small-scale, local community food producers whenever possible. More at seward.coop.
Hi,
I'm Scott Shambot from Shambot Family Dentistry. We're the fear-free, shame-free dental office. If you're having a dental emergency, we'll try and get you in the same day you call because we don't like to see anyone in pain. And we'll help you get through every appointment in the most pain-free way possible. As my daughter Rachel says,
if you don't see my dad, please see another dentist. Take care of your teeth because they're the only ones you get.
Shamblat Family Dentistry in Hopkins and St. Paul. Find them online at shamblatfamilydentistry.com or call 1-800-FIX-MY-TEETH.
This is New Beginnings, hosted by award-winning broadcaster and speaker Freddie Bell.
Freddie, this generation of the baby boomers, people are living longer, so the baby boomers are taking care of elderly parents.
Let's talk about your health, and specifically, let's talk about Medicare. Our show features the concerns of America's 78 million baby boomers in employment, finance, health and nutrition, and even entertainment.
Join us for New Beginnings, Saturday mornings at 11, brought to you in part by Vision Loss Resources.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lulia. Clear tonight with a low of 61, then warm and sunny on Saturday with a high of 88. Crooners is back after an exciting renovation featuring a new dining room, the brand new Maggie's Lounge, and expanded main stage seating. That's Crooner Supper Club, just north of 694 off Highway 65 in Fridley. More at croonersmn.com.
Bijou. I am Oshawashko Gijig. I'm from Red Lake Nation, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake.
This portion of the show is... Oh.
Wendy Pilot here. Robert had to step away. So Ogimaa and I will be finishing up the show here with Minnesota State Senator Mary Kunesh. We did mention earlier that the House Democrat passed the ban on assault weapons. I know for myself, I got really, really excited about that, even though it was a very, very close vote, 217 to 213. I feel like it was so close that I was holding my breath. How do you feel about that, Mary? Oh, I think that you're on mute. Mary, you're on mute. Mute. You're on mute.
There we go.
There you go.
I know I, for one, am quite relieved because for so long, for way too long, there's just been no action. And we've had these mass murders, these mass, assaults, especially at schools or in public places. And we all cry and wring our hands and swear we're going to do something about it, but we just haven't. Mm-hmm. And a lot of that is because of the partisan politics. Also, the influence of the gun lobbyists and the gun manufacturers. I think the time has come where we just say enough is enough. We have to do this. This is just, whether you like it or not, we're going to have to start making some good changes. And as I said, it kind of sets the precedence at the federal level for states to also begin that process. And so I would imagine, every year in the Minnesota State Legislature, we have legislation around what we consider common sense gun safety, making sure that background checks are done appropriately in the appropriate amount of time, at the appropriate age and that sort of thing, as well as, let's ask them to wait a little while in between that, applying for the permit and then actually being able to go out and get one. And then, I don't know, I just don't understand the need for assault weapons in private citizens. Mm-hmm. That in itself, and the amount of ammunition that folks are able to stockpile, that alone right there gives me reason not to sleep at night.
Yeah, it's really scary. The last couple of times, I have to say, I'm going to say in the past year, like just for instance, Robert and I were just in Cooperstown, New York at the Baseball Hall of Fame, and we went to a parade, and there were thousands of people there. Really, it was crazy. And I'm sitting there with all these people And I'm just saying to myself, "Oh my gosh, somebody with a backpack could just have one of these rifles and just like that's what I'm thinking about now. Like this is an easy place for somebody to come and just start shooting up people." And
Hmm.
I feel like that when I'm in the grocery store or in a place where there's a lot of people, like I'm always like looking around and I'm kind of paranoid and I don't it's kind of sad that I feel that way, but I do feel that way.
I'm the parent of a school-age child, so I
Mhm.
have nightmares where I wake up at night that my child's school might be next,
Mhm.
and this ban on assault rifles is great that it passed in the House, but I mean, it's not expected to really go anywhere in the Senate, which is really upsetting to me
Mm.
personally that we're going to have to fight this battle twice over something that clearly just needs to happen. Like Mary said, everybody, thoughts and prayers, and
Mhm.
everybody swears that something's going to be done about it, and yet nothing has happened. And I think this would be a very good first step into preventing more deaths.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think we really do have to go back and think about not only the children, um, and the families and the communities that have been impacted by this. But I always wonder what led, what precipitated those kind of really horrible, horrible assaults on innocent children, innocent families, innocent community members, whether it's in the mall or, outside at a parade. Um, and we're hearing more and more about the mental health issues that have not been addressed. And as a teacher of 25 years, and I'm sure Robert gave you plenty of stories of, kids or situations where we know that, just some attention, some help, whether it's talking to a therapist or a social worker or helping a family get the resources that they need can hopefully alleviate some of those future issues. And so when I go back to the legislature and every year that I have, making sure or working hard to get the funds and get the resources into the classrooms is really has to be a priority. And it certainly wasn't this last year. The Senate committee chair had one bill that he was bent on, and that was a bill that spent, hundreds of millions of dollars on a literacy program, which in itself is a very good program, but that's not going to help these kids and these families and these communities. We have to really look at wraparound services in a really intentional way.
Exactly. You have to nip it at the root of the problem, not after the problem's already out there and the person has the gun. Yeah, it's really just scary for me. But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So, Mary, what else is going on at the legislature, or what would you like to discuss here? We have a few more minutes here.
Well, I spent my morning as the Senate representative for the Missing and Murdered African American Women's Task Force. That it mimics the Missing and Murdered Indigenous Relatives legislation that we have already here in Minnesota. And they used that as the template to create this one for African American women. And it's just fascinating to sit in on this and listen to the task force members and listen and learn the perspective from the African American community, the historic violence. There's a lot of similarities. We intersect a lot of us Indigenous people with our African American sisters. But when you look back on the whole, we talk about the doctrine of discovery and colonization. Well, it all started when they were removed from their countries of Africa and brought here, and women were basically used and abused, not just for working in the fields and in the house, but for their reproductive productivity. Every time a child is born to a Black woman, there's another slave right there. and they look at it as an investment. And of course, they of course were vulnerable to sexual violence and exploitation, separated from their Black families, their spouses, their loved ones. I mean, we talk about the epigenetic differences and changes each of our generations have had due to the violence in American Indians. But these folks were, exposed to that and even worse. And of course, as soon as slavery was outlawed, they were 100% on their own. They didn't have Lent that they could go to or be put on. And so I'm learning so much. These women and men that are sitting on this task force are just incredible. They inspire me every time we meet. I'm heartbroken, but I'm inspired at the same time, much like when we did the MMIR task force. And so leading, once again, Minnesota is doing this. I really look forward to continue to work with this group of people, but also to come up with some real doable recommendations at the end that we can implement.
That's great. It really is. And I'm sure there's so many parallels to both the missing and murdered Indigenous women and the African American women. I can just imagine. And learning all about the history and what they've gone through really gives you such a good perspective of what happened. And you can have empathy then when you learn about this. And empathy is just such an important part of helping people and making things better. So good for you, Mary. That's wonderful.
Yeah, it's fascinating. It's one thing that I was thinking while we were in our forum today. We used to have this department, the economic something for women here in Minnesota, like the economic office for women. And when I was first, it was installed in the state government, and there was an office and a director and all of those things. And then I believe it was 2018, when we didn't have the majority, and I'm saying the Democrats didn't have the majority, Republicans removed it. They defunded it. And that Office of Economic Status of Women, that's what it was called, advised the legislator and it provided information and statistics on women in Minnesota. And it was fascinating. I mean, it gathered information on the population, educational attainment and enrollment for women, marital and parental status, household issues, labor force status, and employment. It was a one-stop shop of information for women, and especially for women of color, because then we knew where we needed to invest our tax dollars to raise these women across the state up. And it wasn't just women of color, but it was rural women, it was agricultural women, all sorts of things. And so I remembered that while we were there in the session or in the task force, and I'm thinking maybe we need to bring that back.
Yeah, that would be a good thing to bring back. Yeah, we really appreciate you coming on every Friday, Mary. We appreciate your perspective and your expertise on everything and the work that you care about and are so passionate about it. We're so lucky to have you. Thank you so much, as always.
It's my pleasure to be here. Wopila Tanka.
Yeah, thank you. That was Minnesota State Senator Mary Kunesh. She will be back here with us next Friday. You're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. This portion of the show was brought to you by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition. And up next will be me with the Sacred Animals segment.
I heard sex trafficking happens a lot in Indian country. What is that?
Here are some of the real reasons why sex trafficking happens in Indian country. Unequal gender roles that were forced on us by colonization. Communities don't have enough resources. Silence around domestic and sexual violence. Lack of attention and justice for missing and murdered Indigenous people. There's a lot of behavior that keeps our communities out of balance. These are just a few true reasons why Native communities are targeted by traffickers. When these acts of violence happen in our communities, it opens us all up for exploitation. Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Hey, Ogimaa, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org. Don't fall for vaccine misinformation. Local medical professionals are available to answer any of your questions. Initial shots and boosters are safe for people who are pregnant and even young children. Right now, vaccines are available for anyone over 6 months of age, and boosters are available for anyone over the age of 5. This message brought to you by the Native American Community Clinic. Find a vaccination site by calling 651-304-9986 or visit vaccineconnector.mn.gov.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States, and 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected. Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf. Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy. As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired. Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
Hi, I'm Jane Fonda, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is brought to you by Howling for Wolves, protecting wolves for future generations. Howl! That's what we do here. We howl. Awesome. Hey, everybody. My name is Hanaji Hihani, and that means cares for them. And I was given that name by my Dega, Curtis. Curtis goes by Mashke Hanajinga, which means walks on white clouds. I'm a humane policy volunteer leader for the Humane Society of the United States, and I work on animal issues at the local and state level, and it's always my pleasure to do that. Today is Fun Fact Friday. I want to give a quick update, though, before I get to my fun facts. So, yesterday, I was bringing news about Howling for Wolves and how they had a survey online at the DNR. And I was asking people to go on that lengthy DNR survey to fill it out because it was so important. Well, it still is. But the good news is that there is a new Minnesota DNR draft wolf plan, and it's so much easier. What I would like people to do, which would take about 20 seconds, is to go online to Howling for Wolves and take action. They have a take action survey, which they filled out all the information for you. You just have to pop in your name and address, and they ask you a couple of things, your prefix, Mr., Mrs. They filled out the whole thing for you, and you just have to click on send the survey, and it's done. It will.
I'm on the page right now, Wendy, and it's so easy, you guys. They have a whole message already outlined there for you. I updated mine on here though, because I wanted to make note that well, the Minnesota DNR Wolf Plan contains a wolf trophy hunting and trapping season, as well-researched trapping and killing to protect moose, which we know is not the case if you listen to Native Roots Radio. But we learned from Wisconsin in 2020, didn't we, Wendy, what a wolf hunt can do? In
Yes.
Wisconsin,
Or-
licensed hunters killed 216 wolves, which was way over the state's allowed quota in 3 days. They had
Yeah.
to close the wolf hunting season, which was supposed to be like a month long or something, after 3 days. So this
Exactly.
is important, and Minnesota needs to protect our wolves. I think the commercial says, Wendy, we have the only original wolf pack in the continental United States here in Minnesota.
The only wolf population, yes, left here
Yes.
in the upper 48. Yeah, we need to protect those wolves for future generations, just like the commercial says. So really, honestly, it says it takes 20 seconds. It probably takes less than 20 seconds. Could you pop up that what is it, tiny URL, just so I could read that off real quick?
Yes, indeed. So it's tinyurl.com/draft wolf plan MN. And that will get you directly to that form. So you can just type in a few things. It takes 2 seconds and help protect our wolves here in Minnesota.
That's great. Say that one more time for me, Ogimaa.
It's tinyurl.com/draft wolf plan MN.
Perfect. Yes. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. So now I've figured, since we're talking about our wolves, I have 25, which I doubt we'll get through, but 25 awesome facts about the gray wolves. And I think everybody's has heard me talk about the gray wolves before. And I'm going to just do it again. So, number 1, wolves call North America and Eurasia home. That's Europe. So that's where they live. Curious about the habitat of gray wolf packs? These creatures can be found in the wilderness and remote areas of North America and Eurasia. In Eurasia. Why can't I say that? They were once common throughout all of North America. However, they were wiped out in most areas of the U.S. by the mid-1930s. Howling is a form of GPS. These intuitive creatures appreciate GPS as we do, like our phone's ability to send our location. The howl of gray wolves can serve as GPS. They can use their howls to signal others and communicate their whereabouts. Because of the high pitch, gray wolves produce a howl that can carry as far as 10 miles. So that's pretty awesome.
Wow.
10 miles. Wolves don't mind cold weather. I feel like whenever it gets really, really cold here in Minnesota, I'm always worried about the wildlife. But apparently, we don't have to worry too much about the wolves. As of 2020, there are 7,000 to 11,000 gray wolves in Alaska, 3,700 in the Great Lakes region, and 1,675 in the Northern Rockies. And they are super chill with the cold. That's what this article says. I am actually reading, let me just give you that information here. I am reading from an article called Spirit Hoods. So Spirit Hoods, and if you want to go on, it'll give the 25 fun facts about wolves. So their fur is perfect for the cold climates. Their winter fur is exceptionally resilient to cold temperatures, allowing them to rest comfortably at negative 40 degrees Fahrenheit. In addition, wolf fur protects better insulation than dog fur and does not collect ice. So I don't want people to think that their dog could just stay out there and hang out in minus 40 degree Fahrenheit because they resemble the wolf, because they can't. These animals are equipped and they are beautiful. Ogimaa just popped up a beautiful picture of a gray wolf if you're watching us on social media. And gray wolves help the world go round. Did you know these beautiful wolves play an integral role in keeping ecosystems healthy? That's right. They help keep the deer and elk population normalized. This little fun fact on gray wolves benefits many plants and animal species. So we're all about saving the wolves here in Minnesota and elsewhere in the United States and in the world. So we will always advocate for non-lethal methods to manage wolves. Number 6, gray wolves don't mind traveling. The average gray wolf travels about 12 miles a day. That's pretty awesome. I know when I get my, I'm walking and I always like to know how many steps I did per day. It's never up to 12 miles, that's for sure. Gray wolves have very unique howls, and we talked about the howls before. The wolf pack is incredibly connected and can communicate with one another through unique howls. Think of it like fingerprints that help us tell us apart. They are distinct and helpful in many situations. Their unique howls can summon a pack at a moment's notice. So, all these animals that are on Earth communicate with each other in special ways. So, I know a lot of people out there just think that it's us humans that do the communicating, but we have lots and lots of animals out there that have a very complicated system of communication. This is number 8, newborn gray wolves need protection. The pups are born blind and unable to defend themselves. The protective habitat of gray wolves keep these cuties safe. The pack cares for them until they can hunt independently, which usually happens at around 10 months old. So that's awesome. These animals are just fantastic. We're going to get to number 8, and then we're going to close up the show. Number 9. Gray wolves have great hearing and sense of smell. Gray wolves are not exceptionally fast. They may have a sprinting capacity of about 35 miles per hour, but only in short bursts. Instead, these majestic beasts rely on their insanely sharp hearing and sense of smell to detect prey. You've been listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. Free Leonard Peltier. Have a great weekend. We'll see you Monday.
Hi, this is Ken Hakeland,